Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather today. I'm meteorologist Al Peterlin. I'd like to talk about the weather health risk for November 20th, 2025. We do keep additional graphics at tpatw.com. And of course, for Amazon shoppers, we do have a patient weather storefront. Looking at the surface map for Thursday, looks like a rather interesting weather pattern with that perpetual frontal system hanging in the Pacific Northwest. But the real activity is this major frontal system stretching across Montana all the way down to a low in Colorado, down to Texas, and then the front back up into Chicago, another little developing low, and then hanging south all the way to Columbia, South Carolina. Note a significant pattern of moisture all the way from the southwest way across the plains, even into the middle Mississippi and Ohio Valley. Looking at our vitality index, this is a composite, a measure of all of those weather elements that might impact human health. And as always, we have something going on here in the Pacific Northwest, but we have a lot of activity here in the high plains, the plains, up into the middle Mississippi Valley, really dominating the Great Lakes. Looking at pressure change, this is always interesting for people with headache and other types of activity. You'll note that we do have rising pressure here along the Pacific Northwest, and this is sort of a teeter-totter effect, one day rising, one day falling. And so whatever its impact is, it's more like a juggling affair. But we have a significant area of falling pressure stretching all the way from Colorado, all the way down into New Mexico, going into Texas, Oklahoma, picking up Kansas, going to Missouri, a little bit of a section back down here trying to touch into Louisiana, but Missouri, Illinois, Wisconsin, and significantly across Michigan and on into basically east central Canada. Looking at dew point temperature change, and this is always interesting because what we can see here is a little bit of a moisture flow trying to come back into Southern California, and you'll note as you jump over to vapor, you can see it much more clearly. A lot of increasing moisture here in Southern California, lots of increasing moisture here again about the Ohio Valley and up into the Great Lakes. And now looking at POI, which is our measure of the change in availability of oxygen in the atmosphere, you'll see we do have that changing oxygen availability with a risk of migraine here in central California, and then picking up in northern and northwestern Nevada, just a touch of northern California into Oregon. Then we have a significant area of migraine risk stretching here from eastern Arizona, across New Mexico, all of Texas, and significant across the Dallas area, touching up into southern Oklahoma. Jumping all the way to the north, we pick up a migraine risk in North Dakota, a little bit in eastern South Dakota, and just that northwestern touch of Minnesota. All the way to the east, we'll go down to the Carolinas with the risk of migraine, northern and southern Carolina. And of course, we do always hang back with a little bit of a migraine risk here, probably closer to Prince Edward Island and on into extreme eastern Canada. Looking at the risk of asthma and arthritis, we can pick up a touch here in the heel or toe area of Louisiana. We do have some risk of asthma and arthritis here in Montana, but the most significant area stretches from Kansas into Missouri, just touching western Tennessee, western Kentucky, and then Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, all the way through Pennsylvania, picking up Wisconsin, Michigan, and all of these Canadian cities from Windsor all the way to Ottawa, because we are touching northern New York and trying to get on up here into northern Vermont and New Hampshire. Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather. Your comments are appreciated, and if you hurt, won't you tell us where you're located?